from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, May 10th. So the moon is going to be in Virgo all day. And of course, it's an earth sign. So we're focused on our physical realms. This Virgo energy wants to sort things out, wants to organize things, especially in our mental plane, in our heart space, and our physical environments around us. Keep in mind that it's a good indication on what you got going on in your inner realm based off of your exterior realm. That's why it's awesome practice, especially with the moon in Virgo, to get to cleaning. Really kind of get your physical environment in order. You will just be mind blown of how much better you feel when everything is in its place, everything has its spot, when everything is neat and tidy. And of course, when we create order in the exterior realm, it helps us create order in the inner realm as well. The moon in Virgo is here to kind of give us solutions to some of the long-term standing problems that we're currently facing. We just had the first quarter moon in Leo, which was the first action point since the new moon that we have to actually choose, to decide one path over the other. And many of us currently bumping into the first set of obstacles, of challenges in how it is that we're actually going to bring these elements to life. So the moon in Virgo is here to help us get creative, come up with some solutions to these problems. And of course, we have to sort out our thoughts and feelings long before we're able to actually take action, make a logical, practical plan for our physical realms. Now, things are going to get a little bit cray-cray here today. Things are going to feel wonky. They're going to feel all over the place. We can thank Mercury going retrograde for that, and Jupiter moving out of Pisces and into Aries energy. If you have not checked out the astro forecast that I put out for each of these events, I'm going to recommend you do that. I'll give you a full scope, a full story on what it is that we can expect from these particular energies. And yeah, today is going to be all over the place. We're not going to feel good about things. We're not going to feel good about ourselves. Our brains aren't working efficiently. Thank goodness we have the moon in Virgo trying its hardest to sort things out, to keep us grounded, to keep us focused. We also do have to take into consideration, though, that Mercury rules over Virgo energy, and Mercury is going retrograde, so the wonkiness will be amplified. We have 9 different aspects taking place today. 7 of them involve the moon. Right out of the gate, we're going to get some help because the moon in Virgo is bumping into Pluto, who of course is retrograde in Capricorn. What does this mean? Well, it means that we are making some progress. We're making some headway in our heart space, in our head space, really doing the deep dive, tapping into that Virgo superpower of analyzing the finer details in our thoughts, in our heart space. And of course, the Plutonian energy wants us to transform. It is a paradigm shift. When we realize a certain connection on why it is that certain things are happening in a certain fashion, this opens us up to not only rewriting the old understanding, the old perspective, and the old feelings that go along with that, but it clears a space. It opens us up for a brand new understanding sitting in this present moment that will have a dramatic effect on how it is that we are seeing the path forward, the plans that we are making, moving forward, our understanding, our feelings about some circumstances and why they had to pop off in the way that they did. The moon, though, squares Mercury. This is a problem for a couple of reasons. First of all, a square is a tension point. Think about getting into a boxing ring with your opposing energy. The moon is our heart space. Mercury is our head space. Mercury rules over Virgo energy. So essentially, the moon in Virgo is going head to head with its own ruler. Mercury is not messing around. In Gemini, its other place of power. And this is the last aspect in a direct position before Mercury goes retrograde. So what does this mean for us? Well, just after we had this beautiful aha moment with Pluto, this very transformative narrative, this very transformative perspective, the dark force agenda wants to come out and play and drag us back into that negative narrative. So the moon squaring Mercury right now is really putting a lot of pressure on us being stuck in the old, us being stuck in the past. This is very much us dwelling on certain narratives, dwelling on certain feelings, afraid to move forward. Again, there's a lot of shakiness in the cosmos because Mercury is essentially not moving. Now, we have all of these negative thoughts creeping up. We're highly critical, overly judgmental, especially of oneself. Just when we gained a little bit of clarity, now we're going to start speaking fear into those dreams, into that clarity. This is where the chaos begins. 7:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mercury goes retrograde. Brain fog, mental fog, miscommunication, dizziness, pressure in the head, feeling like the world is a snow globe that just got shook up. We are going to need a little bit of time to adapt to this energy, but today is not going to be the day where we are going to find solid ground in our mental plane or in our heart space. So we have Mercury now retrograde, now drugged, now unconscious. And again, please listen to Mercury's retrograde astro forecast. I rant for about 15 minutes on what this actually means for us and what we can expect over the next couple of weeks. We get that energy for a couple of hours before any kind of aspect takes place. And the very first aspect that takes place approximately 2.5, 3 hours later is that the moon in Virgo bumps into Chiron, the wounded healer. Now, lucky for us, this is a positive interaction between the two. Now, keep in mind, the moon in Virgo just wants to analyze everything right to death so that we can come up with a solution to some of these problems that we're tired of thinking about, we're tired of feeling. Chiron, the wounded healer, is in Aries energy, highlighting for us our egoic wounds, our identity wounds. Of course, many things have changed in our physical realm, in our physical circumstances, and many of us don't know who it is that we now are. This essentially is doing a deep dive into these details, and because this is a positive aspect, we are likely making a little bit of progress in understanding A, what needs to be healed, B, how we're going to heal it, and C, why this is happening for us instead of why this has happened, quote unquote, to us. That is the victim mentality that we are not sitting in. We want to come up with some solutions. We want to be logical and practical because that is the Virgo energy. We are set on a mission to heal, and to a certain extent, we are healing through an aha moment, through a perspective, through a connection in our heart space, according to some of the changes that are going on and what that means for us, our ego, our identity. The moon is going to bump into Venus in not the nicest way. Venus, of course, ruling over love and pleasure, happiness and joy, relationships, money matters, and of course, she's in Aries. Aries energy is a fire energy. We are definitely looking for new experiences. We are a little bit aggressive, a little bit irritable. We are not tolerating things from the past. We have a new vision. We have a new want. We have a new desire that we want to have taken place pretty much yesterday. We are low on patience with Venus in Aries. So the moon in Virgo, earth energy, Venus in Aries, fire energy. What do we get when we mix earth and fire? Well, if there's too much earth, we're going to snuff this fire out. Snuff the passion, snuff the desire, snuff the excitement. We're going to just snuff that right out. Or if there's too much passion, too much fire, too much aggression, we're going to light this whole dang forest right on fire. And that's going to be a problem for not only us, for a lot of people. Now we're talking about the moon. So this is emotional. We are talking about understanding our old patterns, our old behaviors, and how they've been connected to allowing people to treat us in a certain way. Venus, of course, very much about the relationship and starting with the relationship with ourselves. She's tired of being kind of the co-star in the movie that is supposed to be her. And the moon at this point bumping into Venus is likely going to be a trigger, an activation in our physical realm coming from someone that is very close to us, that we care deeply about, that will remind us, A, of why we're working so hard to create distance with this person, because they're not respecting our new worth, our new value that we're trying to enforce within ourselves. Or B, we are seeing where it is that our boundaries continue to be tested in order for us to step into a new level of self-worth, strength, dignity, and basically overall self-confidence. Now, is it going to feel good? No. Does it need to happen? Yes. Because again, we do not change, we do not boss up unless we are uncomfortable and tired of the struggle. So here we are being illuminated to the finer details of our emotions, where it is that we've essentially let ourselves down, and we figure that out by how other people are popping off and treating us at this particular time. This is about noontime that this happens. And then there is nothing that takes place in the cosmos until 7:24 p.m. Again, Eastern Standard Time. What happens at 7:24? Well, Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, blessings, opportunity, big picture, moves out of Piscean energy, thank goodness, and moves into the very first degree of Aries. Again, please check out the astro forecast if you haven't already. It's a big deal. It's the very beginning of the next 12-year cycle. It is going to give us a lot of beautiful blessings, but a lot of challenges as well. And we receive those blessings through the amount of inner warrior that we're able to tap into in order to rise to the challenge, rise to the obstacles, to overcome whatever is thrown at us in order to actually persevere, get to our end goal, actually bring to life what it is that we're passionate about, what it is that we currently desire, the new experiences that we want to have. This is a brand new initiative, a brand new beginning, a huge, huge shift, a very big deal. So shortly after, we have the moon in Virgo bumping into Pluto, just like we started the day off with, but this time, not such a nice aspect. This particular aspect is going to create a little bit of confusion in us, might even suck us back into the negative Nancy narrative, might kind of illuminate for us the pain and the suffering, the uncomfortability that we're currently feeling in life. Again, may I remind you, today is not going to be a day for stability, a day for decision or choice or growth. This is a wonky ass day, and the moon at this point bumping into Pluto is going to highlight the darkness, the shadow parts, the not so nice thoughts, the not so nice feelings. Now, we do have to visit this realm of not niceness in order to figure out where it is that we want the greatest change and transformation to take place first and foremost, but we don't want to set up camp there. We have to remember that the Virgo energy is very analytical, very critical, very judgmental, first of all, of oneself. So now that Pluto's kind of illuminating the pain and the suffering, we're really beating ourselves down. Now, should we do that? No, probably not. We want to show kindness to ourselves. However, sometimes we do need a good beat down in order for us to be broken down so that we can build ourselves back up in a better way. One thing that we can count on for sure is that we are coming up with aha moments. We are coming up with solutions to some of these problems because that's what the moon in Virgo is all about. Now, later on in the evening, as we bring the day to a close, the moon is going to bump into Chiron like we did earlier, but again, not in the best aspect. This is likely going to amplify the trigger, the activation in our external realm, likely kind of feeding off of the relationship dynamics that are in our face because we have to make a change. Because they're not fair, they're not balanced, they're not supportive, they're not encouraging. Yes, we have ourselves to blame for that because we set the tone for all of our relationships based off the way that we feel about ourselves. But this isn't time to sit in the poor woe is me. This is time to recognize where it is that we've allowed people to treat us this way and where it is that we need to boss up, make some changes, and see whether or not the people in our lives that we've been pouring into are going to stick around and respect our boundaries and continue to pour into us. Disclaimer, a lot of people are going to choose the door. That's okay. It's not a loss. Anyone that is walking away from you because you are putting yourself first is not meant to be in your life, is not there for your best interest. And the only reason why they are walking away, it's not because you're not worth it. It's because they can't take advantage of you anymore when you put yourself and your intentions and your wants, needs, and desires before theirs. Okay? We are in eclipse season, people. We are in retrograde season, people. This is a shakeup. This is the divine script that is going to clean the junk out of our lives that we refuse to do when we have the option to do it ourselves. And we are going to see mostly the relationship dynamics changing first and foremost. So the moon bumping into Chiron is exposing these wounds. This is essentially the universe picking off all of our scabs and rubbing salt in those wounds so that we are very aware on what is alive and well and painful within us so that we can come up with a solution to fix it. And just before the day is done, the moon in Virgo is going to trine, make a very positive, harmonious aspect with Uranus, who is in Taurus. Uranus is the great awakener. He shocks us, he disrupts us, he awes us, he downloads us with information from higher realms. This is aha moments, this is moments of genius. This is a connection being made in our highest realms that we are going to shift our perception, shift our understanding, shift our whole attitude to change. What are we changing? Well, we need a lot more independence, a lot more freedom from these relationship dynamics that are making us weighted down, sucking the life out of us, making us feel held back and restricted from actually doing what it is that we want to do in life. This Uranian energy is very rebellious. We want independence. We want freedom. And emotionally speaking, because the moon is involved, Virgo is like, oh, okay, so we had to sit in these wounds. We had to feel them really hurt. We had to sit in this negative narrative in order for us to really gauge how uncomfortable it is to sit in this position and do nothing about it. Because from that darkness, we can turn things into light. From this pain, there is essentially a brand new power. And this Uranian energy makes us more open to change, rapid changes, paradigm shift, mind shift, attitude shift, emotional shift, where we are starting to heal some of the very deep wounds that the universe now needs to illuminate to us so that we can decide for ourselves, are we going to revolve around the same old, and get the same old, or are we going to evolve, choose something different, choose us, and actually get a brand new, different, empowered outcome?